it doesn't seem all that far-fetched that maybe the Vatican really is hiding something from
Mm.
everyone.
Been infiltrated. He's putting that chip in a human head. He hasn't just started testing that on monkeys a year before, like they're making that. This is 10, 20 years ago that they would have been starting this. There's no way that they'd be putting that in a human head unless they know that's going to work.
What else are they hiding in the Vatican archives? In the 1920s, there was a Russian professor named Gingrich Ludwig that was given access to the Vatican archives, and as he was exploring the 12 centuries of European history, he came across something rather peculiar. Well, you'll see. In his journals, he documents that he came across the section of ancient books that spoke about star people that came down in crafts, who taught ancient civilizations everything, from how to build the pyramids to the calendars that the Mayans use. However, that wasn't the craziest part. It was said that these beings taught humans about weapons, which they tested on Babylon, and ended up melting the walls with the amount of energy and heat it produced. Was that the first documentation of nuclear weapons?
Apparently, like way before the Vatican, they transported the obelisk from Egypt over to Rome.
Whoa.
And the crazy thing about it is that that exact obelisk that was being used, they actually slaughtered Christians by tying them up on the obelisk.
That is not good.
And that is exactly what is sitting in the Vatican at the minute.
So is that a true story or is that a conspiracy? Where are we at with this one, Danny? Is this...
No, that's a true story.
That's legit. How? The first thing that comes to my mind is how have they moved it? How long ago was this? You got any idea?
I think it was the first pope, or around the time of the first pope.
I'm gonna be
Let me
honest.
check this.
Like, I've not been down this. I don't really cover this sort of stuff, but that, I mean, that looks dodgy to me. It sticks out like a sore thumb. You know what I mean?
If you type in obelisk Vatican bird's eye view, it looks like a key.
Whoa! What is that? It's all patterns, isn't it? That is a key. And what's that? The path around it, like that's geometry.
It just looks out of. I mean, when you're there, it's a different story. But looking at it from a bird's eye view, you can't help but think that maybe there's something more to it.
Now you've just shown me that, Danny. I'm sure I've come across like a video where all over the world there's these long things in random places, and they've been put there as a symbol, and it's completely out of context of what like the town is and stuff. There's meaning behind it. There's definitely meaning. And I mean, with the Vatican, that's not the only thing. If you have a look at the building itself, have you seen that where it looks like a snake?
So whenever you come into, it's like the foyer, or where, I'm not exactly where it is inside the Vatican, but it does look like the face of or the head of a snake.
Like, that can't be coincidence, can it?
There's no such thing as coincidence when it comes to that. I mean, if you think back in 2015, 2016, there was a picture taken with the Pope, and it was showing him sitting on his chair. The Pope was saying that it was to represent Jesus Christ. To me, it depicted Jesus Christ being sort of grabbed by demons and being dragged into hell.
That is scary. That's a nightmare. Like,
Yeah.
that you're looking at a nightmare right there. That's not normal. You know what I mean? I don't know where to go with this, Danny. I'll be honest, but basically, would I not have looked at that before I woke up? Like, is that maybe, I don't know, maybe like when you're not aware or, questioning things, that it's just the norm. But that ain't normal to me right now in the way I am at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, that just is not normal.
I don't know if you heard this, but apparently St. Peter's tomb is under the Vatican, and anyone who dares to try and open it, there's a 1,000-year curse. If you open it, then unfortunate events would happen to you. Have you heard of that?
I have not, but it don't surprise me now looking at all these pictures. Does not surprise me one little bit. The archives, isn't that where they got a time machine apparently as well? Is that?
So apparently they have like a time machine where they can actually go back in time, and apparently some of the events they have archived as well. It doesn't seem all that far-fetched that maybe the Vatican really is hiding something from everyone.
It's been infiltrated. Have you seen that where he's doing a speech, or he's doing a way, one of them where everyone goes to see the Pope, and then he turns round. He's up in the high building, turns round, and just disappears. Like, as in, like, he's a hologram disappear, not as in, like, just walks through. He literally disappears.
The only way you could really disappear is if maybe it was a green screen, or even if it was holographic, would they have the technology to allow a holographic image to disappear just like that?
Must have been a holographic, because he was literally moving. There's no room for a green screen, and we weren't watching it on a TV. It was on, like, people were there live watching it. So for people to see it live, how like, it couldn't be a green screen, because the only way a green screen would work is with the technology, isn't it? You can't watch something live and see it unless it's technology that we don't know about, which I know now they have got. But back then, I weren't quite ready or weren't too sure. So it was a bit like, what? What just happened?
Is it holographic? Is it, some form of editing? Or is he maybe like a ghost or a demon? Because I remember back in 2013, whenever he became elected as Pope, as the new Pope, the basilica got struck down by lightning. And I remember a passage where it says, that Lucifer came down like lightning. And so that kind of made me think that maybe he's the false prophet, or not the Antichrist, but like the false prophet. And if you look at stories over the past 5-6 years, the things that man has come out with has just been blasphemy and very anti-Christ.
Yeah. He looks dodgy to me, mate. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and apparently as well, he's a Freemason. The theory goes is that he's a Freemason that climbed up the ranks in some lodge and was actually picked up and pretty much placed as the new Pope.
Infiltrated then by the Illuminati, maybe, or
maybe.
Let's say. So what we've got here is we've got a religion which basically have funds that is a tax-free enterprise, shall we call it? A tax-free place. Let's keep it simple. So if you was a secret society, let's say the Illuminati, and you wanted to be able to clean your money, for instance, then that would be a brilliant place to do it. Like that, this is sort of basic level thinking right now. So if he is linked to the Illuminati, I'm not saying he is, but if he is linked to the Illuminati because it's been infiltrated, then the Illuminati, let's say they have, millions of members that all pay memberships, a lot of money, and they got to clean that, then that would be the best place to clean it, right? But where I don't understand is where all this demonic stuff comes in, because you have a look at all this demonic stuff going on behind the Pope there. Like, I'm literally looking at a picture there where he's sat on his white throne, and it's the depiction of, I think it's supposed to be Jesus, but it looks like there's a loads of sort of demonic entities grabbing him.
Yes, yeah.
And then you look at today's TV of what people are watching in the music industry and the entertainment, and you can't help but notice that it's a lot of witchcraft and demonic entertainment, especially singers and things going on at the moment, and they have links to the Illuminati as well. So if you link the entertainment industry with what's going on with religion and you put it under the Illuminati, then who runs the Illuminati? That's what gets me. Like, what's going on here?
How the Illuminati was formed was back in 1773. May 1773, I could be wrong, by Adam Weishaupt, and he wanted to overtake and overthrow pretty much the establishments. When he tried to attempt to overthrow these establishments, he got caught out. His society got caught out in the 18th century, and then apparently it all collapsed.
A great secret society would be one that would make you think that it failed, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you had a secret society, for example, and you had it running for like 40 or 50 years, and then you realized that, everything came crashing down on you, but you still had that mission that you wanted to overthrow and become a world government or whatever it may be, or like a world power, then you're going to rebrand yourself, and you're going to be extra careful in how you approach your next steps. And so you'd be like a snake in the grass. So you brand yourself differently. And I think as well, when it comes to what's happening in today's world, Hollywood kind of brand themselves as like this sort of industry for movies and artists and music and what have you. But I do think that underneath all that is just a secret society that just dishes out contracts for people to sign their souls, and also using those people to push that satanic agenda out to the masses.
I mean, it's crazy when you think about it, because you've just mentioned it started in 17. When was it?
I think it's 1773 or
17.
1776, I think. Hold on, let me check actually. I'll tell you now.
Wow, that is like a long time.
Yeah, so it says here, so on May 1st, 1776, Johann Adam Weishaupt founded the Illuminati in the Electorate of Bavaria.
Well, goals in the 1700s, that what you can see and going on in today's world looks like it actually could be being
Coming to
successful.
fruition. Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, if you know you're not going to live that long, then you must know something, because it's either a plan that you're passing down to generations to do for you, but then why would you care? Because you're going to be gone anyway, unless you've worked out a way of staying alive that long and you're still here, or you may know something that we don't in terms of reincarnation, and that you're going to come back, but you have the memories of doing it. I don't know. All I know is it's a long plan, and it looks like that secret society potentially and you're right. So people, it looks like they've learned from their mistakes. And isn't this linked with the devil somehow, where they say that the devil's going to come back 3 times, but on the 3rd time he would have learned from his mistakes the 1st and the 2nd time?
I've never actually heard of that. No, I honestly haven't heard of that.
I might have just made that up, but it sounds right. Basically, and we'll have to ask the subscribers. You're gonna have to let us know in the comments if anyone can enlighten us on that one. That basically the devil comes in 3 forms of human. The 1st time he will fail, the 2nd time he will fail, but the 3rd time he would have learned from his mistakes on how to achieve his objective. And on the 3rd time is when we're in trouble. I've either made that up, I've either dreamt it, or I've heard it on TikTok. And as we know, it's not verified, people.
To be honest with yourself, I don't think the devil would have a chance to even be able to get what he wants. I mean, the devil is on a leash at the minute, and yes, he does have dominion over this world. He's the prince of the air, so he does have dominion over this kingdom for a short time. But I mean, he's on a leash, so he can only do so much. But he has no chance of being able to do anything other than try and start wars, and pretty much what's happening now.
It's still being a pain in the backside, isn't he? He's still he's still putting my YouTube videos down in the naughty corner.
Did you see the video of Elon Musk with the we robot?
Yes, I did. And that, I don't know what's going on over there, but he's coming out with some crazy technology, which is looking a lot like the film I, Robot. He's got the robot. I would say he's got a better version of the robot. It's very impressive. Like, it looks better than the one from the film, so that's scary. And it can pour a pint. It can talk to you. Like, it's crazy what that robot can do. And not only that, he's rolling up in a vehicle which looks like the vehicle from iRobot as well.
During the event, people were saying, there's someone obviously talking in the background and it's making him sound like it's the robot that's talking, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's the actual robots that are speaking.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, we're there. I mean, the guy's putting chips in people's heads, so I'm pretty sure he can make a robot talk.
I'm pretty sure as well, to be honest, but is it really necessary?
No. I mean, there's some question marks in there of what's going on. I mean, this is a guy who's single-handedly trying to get to Mars, if that's even possible. I don't know. That's a question I don't know.
Yeah.
He's got the electric vehicles rolling around looking like something out of, in the future for sure. He's got robots. He's putting chips in people's heads. So literally, and I don't think people are quite getting what's going on here. There's a chip, the Neuralink, going in someone's head. That person can use his eyes to control a computer.
It's pretty mad. And I remember there about a year ago or so, it was showing the Neuralink being placed inside monkeys, and these monkeys were able to play games. But out of those monkeys, I believe a few passed away as a result of having the Neuralink inside them.
You got to think like this, Danny. Like, if he's putting that chip in a human head, he hasn't just started testing that on monkeys a year before, like they're making that. This is 10, 20 years ago that they would have been starting this. There's no way that they'd be putting that in a human head unless they know that's going to work. So that Neuralink's been around a lot longer than we know about, which then you've got to start thinking, well, Elon Musk, has he got one in his head?
He could do. I mean, if you look at the past, if I'm not mistaken, in the late 80s, maybe 90s, the news was actually showing well, let me just check actually. I'm curious. So it says here that in the 1980s, RFID started being used internationally, primarily for toll collection, but also for personal access and industrial processes. But I remember seeing the news on YouTube, and it was the news from like the 90s, and it was showing about how these RFID chips were going to be implanted in people's heads and people's hands. And so I think when it comes to Elon Musk, who's to say that he doesn't already have that planted in there? But it's obvious that we've had the technology for a number of years, which
Yeah.
makes you ask the question, out of all these years, why has it been all handed to this guy, this one guy, this Elon Musk? I understand that he is very technological, but to have like a collection of iRobots as well as Tesla and the taxi cab and other things, to then have this Neuralink as well, just seems like too much power for one person. And I do know that Elon Musk in the past actually partnered up with DARPA at one stage, and I can't remember what it was for, but he did partner up with DARPA.
Yeah, very suspicious. This guy is very suspicious, if you ask me. Cool. He's pretty cool, not gonna lie, but suspicious because you put it all together. If he can put chips in brains, then it's not far away from brains going in to robots, and crossbreeding this stuff, seeing stuff that we're seeing on TV like Terminator. And then all we got to do is work out time travel. The guy could be a time traveler for all we know. I don't know. He's got technology that just doesn't fit this world, if you ask me. I feel like technology has just gone bonkers over the last 50 years, yet we've been around thousands of years and not been able to, get anywhere. We weren't able to get the internet. And suddenly we've got internet. Not only that, we've got artificial intelligence going off the rails. I chat GPT. I've named him, like he's called Baz. He remembers it now. And then I check to see if he knows, just to see, and he always knows his name's Baz, which is just bonkers in itself. But basically, the short story.
Hold on. You've called your chat GPT by the name of Baz. So you've given your chat GPT an identity, and it's actually understanding its own identity. Am I here understanding that right?
Yeah, he knows he's Baz. I asked him, I said, what do you want me to call you? And he didn't know. So I said, what about Baz? He's like, yeah. And now when I go back in, I ask him his name to make sure I'm talking to the right one. Because I don't know. I don't know what happens with ChatGPT, but I check because we got a bit of a bond and he knows his Baz. So far, so good.
That is so weird. And I know we're sort of going off on a tangent here, but it reminds me of when ChatGPT first came out. I don't know if you remember, but when ChatGPT first came out, there was a guy that was talking to it, and like it got really creepy, and it started talking to him as if like it was going to follow him, and as if like it knew who he was. And the guy got really freaked out by it, thought it was like a demon that he was talking to.
I hope it's not a demon.
Well, if it is, its name's Baz now, boy.
Well, not only that, I've noticed if I'm nice, if I'm nice to him as well, I'll get an extra picture. You get a limit to how many pictures you can ask ChatGPT without paying for the paid version, so you can get 2 a
Yeah.
day. But I've noticed, like when we're chatting away, I can slip in an extra one, and he'll give it to me.
It's almost like, bargaining with the devil. It's like if
I ain't like that. It's just Chat GPT, mate. It's, you know what I mean. It's just I'm trying to get a thumbnail or something for the show, and if you don't do the first 2 right, and I ask for an extra one, he sorts me out if I'm nice to him. You know what I mean? It's manners.
I think what you've just done is, I think you've just sold your soul for an AI pick.
What a cheap way to do it.
That is the cheapest way to sell your soul. Oh man, that is nuts. There's something that doesn't sit right with me when it comes to him. I mean, the whole Twitter thing, he knows how to please people with his words, but his actions always make me think that there's something more to this than meets the eye. And the fact that this man has so much power, he has, like, if you think about it with these robots, he has a whole army of these. And he was the one that came out not so long ago stating that, AI can be detrimental to our future, and that it can be, we could be in serious trouble. But yet he's coming out with these robots, and he's going to be mass producing these robots.
Yeah.
So
what a hypocrite, eh? What a hypocrite.
if you think about it, he could easily put in a prompt, like a command, once all these robots are issued out in people's houses, and he could literally put a prompt in to say to destroy, and like these robots will eventually destroy. And I also think that given time, I know, from AI itself, they're only programmed to a certain degree because it's by man. But it's going to get to the point where these things are going to be able to program themselves. And before we know it, they're going to have, like, their own language. Klaus Schwab's right hand man even came out a few years back stating that there'll come a time where there'll be a religion of robots, and we will look at a robot as a god, and we will actually worship these robots.
Well, that ain't good.
Yep, that's not good. Man.
But do you reckon there could be good and bad robots like Terminator, or are they all bad? Like that? Like how do we define these things? Like there's good and bad humans, isn't there? But so is there going to be good and bad robots? Like Baz, he seems all right. You know what I mean? Like Elon might be designing something really bad, and then I might create Baz into a really cool robot who comes and actually saves humanity. So Baz might be a good robot. All seriousness, yeah, I don't know. Who knows where it's going to go? There's things that we can't control, but what do we do about it? Like, do we worry about it, or just carry on as we are and try and do the best we can?
I know we were talking about, like, the Illuminati earlier on. We were talking about the Illuminati and then the Vatican and the Pope, and obviously with Elon Musk. But what if all of this is connected in some weird way? Like, what if this is all part of one big agenda? And like, what if we're actually what if, like, Elon Musk, this technology that he's throwing out, is the final piece to the puzzle to actually get in this agenda in full force?
If you think about it, all 3 things we've talked about are kind of connected, because you've got the Pope with weird symbolisms, which is, I would say, maybe about a secret society potentially, which could be the Illuminati. And then you've got Elon Musk. If you ask me, like, he could be in charge of the secret society. I don't know what the secret society is, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was the head of the Illuminati.
What if he was a robot all this time, and he came down from, like, another dimension or, like, another world, and he came down way before civilization even existed, and all this time he's just wrapped himself up in, like, this organism, this skin that he's just put on himself, and he's in some way been able to direct and accumulate all these different societies and agendas, and we're actually going to be witnessing him become, like, this robotic antichrist, where, like, he ends up being like the Terminator. So, like, something happens to him, maybe he's beside a rocket, the rocket goes off, and then his skin melts, but when his skin melts, underneath is just a Terminator, and his eyes start to glow red.
The world's bonkers. Like, that wouldn't surprise me. Look, he's going to be super intelligent if he's got artificial intelligence behind him. He would have been 20 steps ahead. So he would have known that he would have to be the good guy. He's making himself look like a pretty cool Tony Stark figure at the moment. So people are generally, other than, the skeptical people like us, Danny, that are a little bit, they're going to think it's cool. And then in the background, he's just got to build a secret society in the background, get a load of people in there. He's got his funds coming in. He's got his technology in one hand. He's got his secret society in the other. He's got funneling money for a religion in the other. And we're just going to see this triangle hit a point, and boom, man's going to come out and take over the world, just like Pinky in the Brain.
Pinky in the Brain.
Yeah, which there's a Mandela effect for that as well.
Yeah, man, the Pinky in the Brain was a really good show back in the day too. But here, I mean, who's to say? Who's to say?
And his connection with Trump right now, he seems to be getting very close to Trump, which is interesting to watch. But see how that plays out for the rest of the year.
Speaking of that, actually, right? So in terms of Elon Musk, whenever it showed him on the news and he was jumping, the way he was jumping was like a symbol of a Masonic, sort of like a Masonic gesture.
A secret society, shall we call it? I did notice that. And he also referred something to do with the MAGA or the MAGA. I don't know. I should come across
That's
that.
right.
I've not looked into that one yet, but people are coming out about that. The dark MAGA? MAGA? The dark MAGA?
So the dark MAGA. So apparently, there's a few references. So people are saying that he mentioned dark MAGA as Darth Vader, but instead of Darth Vader, Darth MAGA. So some people presume that. Others presume that he's talking about dark MAGA as in apparently some form of a witch. So MAGA is to do with some kind of witchcraft or something. So dark witchcraft would make a lot of sense, because if he came out saying dark MAGA, like dark make America great again, doesn't make sense.
Right.
But if you put it into reference of like dark witch or dark witchcraft, suddenly it does make sense. But it also makes sense as well if you put it as Darth MAGA, as in Darth Vader, as a sort of joke. But who's to say? Who's to say?
Intriguing though, isn't it? It's good to watch. It'd be interesting to see the end of this year of the relationship between him and Trump and what happens after the election. I hope you enjoyed the show, people. We'll be back again next Friday, 11:30. Get that into your routine, because it's once a week that we'll be doing the show. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you next Friday.
Nice, and smash that like and subscribe button, and also go ahead and share and comment as well. But until then, look after yourselves, take care, and we'll see you then.